very interesting indeed. The field now starting its second pace lap and starting to build a little bit of heat in the tires. This race is going to be so strong, so exciting. Let's bring you to our Yokohama starting lineup. Up front, Marc-Antoine Cameron, 4th pole of the season. And again, a repeat pole here, and Aaron Justice outside. 7th row is going to bring us Arnold Brinkmann and Bryce Miller.
There are 14 cars all within 1 second of one another in qualifying. Something that every one of these drivers is going to have to show is an awful lot of patience, especially in the opening laps. It's very tough for young drivers.
Onto the front straight, somebody moving early, and we're green, we are underway.
They spread out, they fan out, Greg. A lot of drivers down on the dirty part of the racetrack. Whoa, Lacey nearly tags Justice there going through. Radade and Memo Rojas together. That's Harrison going backwards. A zero involved there. We see Ari lined out to the front of the shot.
And that newly repainted machine, bright green now, going after the luck of the Irish. He said he was having a tough go in the earlier part of the season, wanted to do something.
Well, a big jump there, Greg. He was on the power early, coming out the last hairpin. Aaron was caught sleeping just a little bit. Now he's out to defend himself from Ian Lacey and the rest of the pack. So Aaron was certainly looking for a better restart, but hopefully he can settle down and get back to put some pressure on Mark.
Okay, Guimond now has Lacey right down the middle of the track, so that lets you know that he definitely feels that Guimond is going to try and go around. There goes Walsh.
Brinkmann up there, the number 25 car. He's having a great run today also.
Superb run for Brinkmann. And then
Dyer, is it?
As well, Lacey went into that turn so tight. Guimond stayed parked on the outside, and I think that tightened up the corner so much for Lacey, he lost all his speed.
I don't understand that, Greg. He went in very tight to the corner to protect, then came off the corner very shallow. So I don't know whether he has a gear selection problem. Walsh now moves around, and so maybe Ian Lacey has a problem with the car.
Now the back end steps out there, and Brinkmann going to take a run as well. Lacey holds on that time. I almost wonder if Lacey had been watching Guimond go out so wide and square underneath, protected in, and then thought, I'm going to protect on the exit as well, and Guimond surprised him and swept right around the outside.
Possibly, Greg. Here we see Dyer slipping down to the inside on Brinkmann. He's making a charge back towards the front. That yellow flag really stacked things up and got him back in position, and he's really making a charge here today rather than actually being involved in the first corner incident. So he's a lap down, but Peter Walsh, he's looking for a good win, not a win here today. That would be probably too much to expect, but certainly a place on the podium.
The USF2000 National Championship. Good battle for 7th. We're looking at right now, that's Brinkmann, who just recently was displaced by the ACC class leader. Now he's got 2nd place in ACC. Mike Duran close on his tail.
He's going to be in a battle here. Arnold's done a great job. He's from Ecuador. He's been around for a couple of years now in this category and has really performed very well, learning the ropes, so to speak. He's not typically a front runner, but when you get back into that 2nd pack, he's always just around there. So he's doing a great job today. But Mike Duran, you got to hand it to him in an older car, doing a superb job out there on this very difficult racetrack.
You mentioned Brinkmann coming from Ecuador. He can't be real familiar with the circuits, obviously, that they're running on. So he's learning as he goes. That makes the performance, I think, all the more impressive.
Absolutely. Get the downshift done and was in neutral, so to speak, and just washed out wide. But he now comes under pressure, I believe, from, is that Hansen back there?
That's Brinkmann, I think.
Brinkmann, that's right.
He passed, and now Brinkmann obviously able to close back up, and right behind him is Duran. So that battle for ACC is now afoot. It gives us an opportunity, though, Cal, to go back and take a look at a great battle for 3rd.
There you see Lacey. He protects the inside line. Look at Guimond to the outside. Then Lacey comes off the corner very slow, middle of the road, doesn't carry any speed. Guimond's to the right. He doesn't really know what's going on. He's looking across like, is this guy got troubles? Am I ahead of him? Lacey, meanwhile, has the inside line for the next corner. There you see Walsh right behind him. Guimond completely chops across. That slows Lacey once again, and then Walsh can really make the move down into the hairpin.
Nice opportunistic pass by Walsh, and lets Walsh go streaming by. Behind him, Lacey and Dyer now coming up, and Dyer dives to the way to the inside. Oh, he's trying to get them both.
This is what we're talking about, Greg. It gets hairy. The guys don't know what to do. One moment Danny's slowing down, then he's back up to speed. Dyer made a bit of a banzai move to the outside. It's dirty down there. He locked the tires up. May have lost spell of the tires. Now Danny says let him through.
Says let him through. Meanwhile, locking him up huge is Dyer as he sneaks through, and Brinkmann now all over him, as is Duran.
This is getting tight.
That's Azaro.
Hairpin. Azaro made a great run. He was all the way back down in 23rd position after that first lap, Greg, and now we see him fighting back up in the top 10.
That moves Azaro up up to 8th. A superb drive as Dyer continues to hang on to 6th. Walsh hanging on to it here, but Lacey applying the pressure. Then another gap. Then it's Dyer, Brinkmann, Asaro, Duran covered by that blanket. But right now, Lacey putting a lot of pressure on, thinking about it here down into turn 8. Not going to happen. The battle for 4th continues as we are now but 4 laps from the end of the 7th round of the USF2000 National Championship. Here at the Grand Prix du Trois Rivier, and there's that battle for 4th. It continues. Walsh, that's about as much of a margin as he's had in the last few laps, and it's all of 2 lengths now instead of 1.
There we see Tom Dyer, I believe, right behind them in the number 2 machine. Then we see Brinkmann coming through the screen, and Asaro starting to put the pressure on Brinkmann for 7th.
Well, what a drive by Asaro, as you pointed out, struggling qualifying, got caught out in that turn, and now, I mean, he looked for a minute there like he was going to be able to swing out and take the move, or at least attempt one on Brinkmann, but Brinkmann got into turn 8 with a lot of speed. Now Asaro's thinking about it. They may have just rubbed a little bit there.
They come out of turn 8 and they get right up on the side. It's the sidewalk there that they actually get up on the coming there, and Asaro pulled it off, jinked to the inside. Brinkmann wasn't expecting it, and Asaro was pretty aggressive there, but thought better of it and actually tucked his nose out of the way and allowed Brinkmann the corner.
Smart move by Asaro there. I think otherwise that could have ended in tears. Dyer now is closing back up again rather quickly on the back end of Ian Lacey, partly because he doesn't have that pressure from the back anymore, as Brinkmann's a lot more concerned with Asaro and his mirrors.
Brinkmann got in there very early, nearly tagged the tires on the outside.
Back-to-back wins here, and at Trois Rivier, Justice a very strong 2nd spot. And talk about a guy whose confidence needed a boost, and he got it. Pete Walsh, who'd been struggling since Mosport, ends up on the podium after being buried back in the pack, started 17th. Another guy who was impressive was Asaro with the problems. Brinkmann, Duran. Remember to check out all the latest from the racing world on speedvision.com.